StampsAndScrapbooks.com again. I've been busy in my studio, so today I have another card for you. This is using my stash, and I am a hoarder, I admit it. I buy lots and lots of things, and then I hoard them because I love them so much I don't want to use them, like these flowers and butterflies and these little bits of pearls and bling. So today I hit the stash and I made a card, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. So follow me into my studio. Today's challenge was to use my stash, and I would be embarrassed to show you my stash because it really takes up an entire craft room. These are some of the products that I have that I love, but I really haven't used in a while. So I'm going to use all of them today to create a card, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So there's two challenges here. One is anything goes, and the other one is to create a card from your stash. So I challenge you to do the same because we tend to hoard our things. I do anyway. And so you can come up with some pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to do this on camera for you and show you how I'm going to put this card together. A great storage solution for you is the empty wood stamp cases from Stampin' Up! And what I do is I store all my goodies in here. It's thick enough so that you can store your flowers and things in here without them getting crushed. So the first thing that I did was I took a half sheet of Stampin' Up! Chocolate chip cardstock, and then I folded it in half. So this is 8.5 by 5.5. And so you're going to score right in half at 4 1/4, and that's going to give you your card. And then I went 1/4 inch smaller, which is a great layering measurement. So this one is 4 by 5 1/4, so you get that border all the way around. And then I took a piece of newsprint, and this is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, so that's going to fit just a little bit smaller. I just want a little thin border around there. So I'm not going to adhere anything yet. I just want to build this card first. So I had this piece of burlap, and I love burlap, and I don't know why I don't use it, but I don't. So I just frayed some of the edges by pulling the strings, and I'm going to lay that on top somewhere. Now, the next thing I did was I took a piece of craft metal, which if you visit my blog regularly, you know I love craft metal sheets for card making. So I keep mine in this big envelope here, and as you can see, there's lots of sheets inside. I'm going to turn this up so you can see, and there's all different colors and sizes, and I just throw my scraps in here because you can make a lot of cool things with your scraps. So that's from addalittledazzle.com. So I'm going to take this piece of craft metal. It doesn't matter that it's a little wrinkled because once you do whatever it is that you do to it, it looks fine. So I'm going to take this metal, and I'm going to put it in the Textured Impression Square Lattice folder. This is a Stampin' Up! Product. So I'm going to kind of get that in there straight, and I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. So I trimmed it down a little bit to make it a little square. This is dark, rich chocolate metal, by the way. They have all different colors, so that's the one that I used. Okay, so this is just going to lay on here. I don't know exactly where it's going to go. I love this flower, so we're going to have to make room for that. I want the matching butterfly, maybe. And so I'm going to put that there, and I don't know, there. So I'm going to use some of these little blingy, swirly things because I should have them on every card I make. They're awesome. So let's get started just assembling and see what we end up with. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the newsprint onto the cardstock here because I know I don't have to worry about adding anything under it. Now the reason I'm not attaching here is because I'm going to do some type of ribbon, and because of that I'm not going to attach it just quite yet. So let's take some of these swirls and put them in place and see what this ends up looking like. So these are self-adhesive, very cool, and I guess I'm going to put one in this corner up here. And it's okay if it hangs over a little bit because don't forget, it goes onto this card. And it's good to not stay in the lines. Whatever they told you in school, it's not true. Staying in the lines is not for paper crafting. So I'm going to put this here. Let's assume this is going here. We'll put our butterfly up here. Not sure if I'm going to use that. Maybe our corner is going to go up here. And I don't even know if I need a ribbon on this. So let's do another one of these swirls, and I'm going to pick a different one because I don't want them to look the same. And this one I'm going to put this way. And again, I'm hanging over the edge. I'm going to tuck this underneath. actually, let's put this over the burlap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper piercer and I'm going to put it underneath just to stop it from adhering. So to attach the burlap, either use some sticky strip or some strong tape. This is 3M. And I'm just going to adhere that. You may want to lift up this little piece here and put it over as well. Tentatively, I'm putting that there. Now I want to have a greeting on here, so I don't want to make any decisions until my greeting is done. So for my greeting, I want to use Thinking of You, because that's a very versatile stamp and I can send this card for pretty much any reason. This is a clear mounted rubber stamp. I'm going to take this and put it on a clear block. So I'm just going to stick that right on there. Now, because of all the texture and detail on this, I think that this really needs to be embossed. So I'm going to use some chocolate chip ink, and I'm going to ink up my Thinking of You, and I'm going to put 2 of them on here because while my stamp is dirty, I might as well do a couple of images so that next time I have one that's embossed and ready to go. Now the thing with this is I've left myself plenty of room because I don't know how big or small I want this to be. So once I have my clear powder on, I'm going to go ahead and heat set it. Once I have that heat set, I'm going to try the decorative label punch, and I know that this usually fits in there, and it does. I'm going to pop that out. Once I've cut that out, I'm going to ink the sides of it with some chocolate chip ink and a sponge. And this is actually a 1/4 of a sponge. And I punched out a little piece where I write the name of it so that I don't have to always use a different sponge. Also, while this is out, I'm going to sponge my edges just a little bit, just so that they're not quite so neat and clean. And this is really how I do my cards. I just throw a bunch of stuff on the table and then I just start using it and see how it just ties together. So if we put this on here and this on here, maybe this on here, and I want this kind of busy, but I don't want to go over the edge. I think that the corner up there might just be pushing it right over the top. So I think I'm going to end with just that. Now a couple of things that I like to do is I like to have dimension on all of my pieces. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals, and that's going to give this a little bit of height so that all of my pieces are at different heights and different layers have more interest, and I have the different textures, so that always helps. I'm going to put this right onto my craft metal, and then I'm going to put some of these Stampin' Dimensionals right here on the back of my metal. Once I take the backing off of that, I'm going to adhere it right there to the front of my burlap, and I'm going to use a glue dot to attach the butterfly. Just touch the butterfly to the glue dot and then it attaches right there to your card. And I have to fight the impulse to put things in each corner because that's really not what you want to do. But as you're building it, you can definitely see where things belong. So I'm going to put this here, and I am going to adhere this whole piece to the card front. I'm going to layer that right on the top here, and just try and make sure that your borders are even. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I kind of feel like I need something else here. This is a piece of chocolate chip cardstock that matches my card. I'm going to try tearing the bottom of this, and let's see what that looks like underneath. I kind of like it a little bit better, but it's too long, so let's do this. And once I tear this edge, I think it's going to be just right. So I want that to stick out a little bit from the bottom. So to do that, I'm going to put a couple of glue dots on each side of this. And there really is no exact science to this. I'm not as good of a collage artist as I would like to be. So sometimes you have to really play with this because you don't want to go over the top, but you don't want to miss the mark either. So just have a little bit of that sticking out, and that's better. Okay, so as you can see, this is getting very messy, which is exactly what happens whenever I try and create something. So I've tried the trim, I've tried the canvas, I've tried this, I've tried this. None of these is working for me. So let's get those out of the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a marker in the same color as the cardstock. This is chocolate chip. And I'm going to use my marker spritzing tool. And I'm going to extend the point of the marker beyond the part where the air is going to come out, and then tighten the screw. And I'm going to try it out because I want to make sure that it's positioned properly. So I want to get quick bursts because I don't want this to look like I positioned it. I want it to look like it was just spattered. And so you can get as crazy as you want with this. I think I'm good because I tend to be happy and then I'm like, oh boy, I went over the top. I think I'm just going to leave this because I really don't think that the bow is going to add anything to it. And I'm afraid I'm going to go a little over the top with it. Okay, so now that we're done with our card, let's not forget the inside of the card. So I just cut a piece of plain cardstock. This is very vanilla and it is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to open this up and just put the cardstock right inside. And I think I'm also going to take my spritzer tool and just put a few speckles on the inside of the card as well. And I just want to do the outside edges of the card. And so that is the inside of my card. So that's going to be my card for today. I hope I've inspired you to take out your stash and start making some cards with it. If you like what you see, my blog is www.StampsandScrapbooks.com and my online classes are at www.StampsAndScrapbooks.com.